was a running back at BYU in the 80s. Came in the very special time for BYU, 84, my freshman year. We won a national championship. Where the painkillers came in for me, they came in before really my injury. I'd never been exposed to painkillers before. I'd had injuries in high school. And then the first time I ever got a narcotic painkiller was when I was at BYU, my freshman year. And I remember the first time I took it, I was at John Hall, Helaman Halls, that's where the athletes had their dorms. And I took that painkiller and along with the muscle relaxer, and it made me feel so awesome. And I had a ruptured disc at my L4-5 that required surgery. For me, what I found was that the painkillers didn't just kill my physical pain, they killed my emotional pain. It didn't take long for me to become physically dependent and then fully addicted. And then the drugs just started to become the answer for everything. And if I have drugs, if I have those painkillers, everything's okay. Like, I don't have to be a star football player. Being a broadcaster at KSL was an amazing time when I got there in '96. Because if you think back on that time frame, BYU went to the Cotton Bowl. The University of Utah basketball team went to the Final Four, right? Championship against Kentucky. And the Utah Jazz go to back-to-back NBA Finals. So I'm at Channel 5 at that time with Craig Bolerjack, and we're just riding this unbelievable wave of sports success that we get to cover on a nightly basis. So in 2000, or right around that time, Craig Bolerjack ended up leaving to go to CBS. I thought, oh, I'll get promoted to the weekday sports anchor. That didn't happen. And I think on the outside, I acted like, oh, that's no big deal. And I think on the inside, my ego was crushed. And I got resentful. And people know in recovery that resentment is the #1 offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. It says that in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And certainly that was one of the things that started to drag me back down into my addiction. I started using painkillers again, thinking it was okay. And I'll just use a little bit, and it quickly got out of control, and it was bad. I was fortunate. I had a buddy in Hawaii that I went through treatment with, and he was now a counselor at the place where we went through treatment. He said, you either get on a plane or I'm going to come up there and I'm going to kick your butt, in stronger terms. And somehow, miraculously, I got on the plane. I still remember how hard it was to leave my kids here, especially Durant. And I remember we sat down the night before I left, and I told him I got to leave. And he was very understanding. And that in itself was a miracle. So today, as a substance use disorder counselor, I have both practical experience as a recovering addict, and I have some clinical background, having gone back to school and studied the disease from more of an academic standpoint. And the blessing for me is that I get to sit down with individuals in the counseling session and talk to them about their disease, educate them about their disease, try to help them understand the craziness that's going on in their mind, and helping them realize that, we can deal with this, but we have to identify what it is first. I look at where I came from and the things that I've been through, including what my kids have been through, and putting them through a lot of pain and torment, wondering, like, is my dad gonna live? Those kinds of things. And today, like, I get to work with my son. I get to be involved, whether it's in recovery or in the sports broadcast side, with him today. And that in itself is like how the whole thing kind of comes full circle and repairs itself, but not because of me, but because of my willingness to just let God do the work. And for me today, I work as a counselor on nights that I'm not doing a jazz game, and the nights that I'm not counseling, I'm doing a jazz game. I mean, the Utah Jazz, that's like the best sports gig you can get in this town. So I have the best of both worlds, and I'm just, there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm living a dream, and I can't help but just be filled with gratitude. the